is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay for you. And today I'm going to be comparing the knives. And I'm only going to be talking about the knives that can be improved. So no boot knife or kitchen knife. But these are basically three knives in the game. We're going to be comparing the combat knife, the fighting knife, and the primal knife. If you know anything about knives, it's one of the most important tools in any Resident Evil game, and this one is no exception. Maybe even more important with how many things the knife can do. And I'll be honest, in my prediction of what I thought would be the best knife to use and against your enemies, I was completely wrong with this one. I was so wrong, but once again, it is my opinion. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. And for our first knife, we're going to start off with the combat knife, aka the knife that Marvin gave Leon in Resident Evil 2. Rest in peace to Goat Marvin. But its special perk and ability is that it has 1.5 times attack speed. And that is very important because while it may not have the power, it definitely has that speed. And you'll see it first off here. And it is a pretty cool looking knife. Not my favorite design of a knife, but nonetheless pretty cool. So let's go out, and once again we're going to be testing on the villagers. And one thing about the knife is, as you can see, it's got the attack speed. It's definitely the fastest knife of the three, and that's very critical because, as I said, it may not do damage per every time you strike, but because it's so fast, it more than makes up for it. So maybe over time it may do the most, just how fast it does, but just having that speed of constantly hitting them and maybe possibly stunning them, I really like the combat knife a lot. I really was, I actually thought going into this it'd be the worst of the three, but I was pleasantly surprised. In fact, I'll say right now, you could argue it might be the best, possibly. And I know it's going to be some tough competition, but just with how much I got there, even though I didn't like that shovel to the face, but nonetheless, I was just really pleasantly surprised with just how efficient I was with this knife. And granted, it's hard when you're fighting like villagers all over the place and they're all grabbing you and stuff, but of all the knives that I did training and testing out here, this is actually the only knife of the three that I did this where when Salvador was triggered and summoned, I actually did not see him. I actually was able to kill everyone before I ever saw Salvador come up to me. So that's one thing about it, and that's just with that speed, being able to fastly do it. And that's what you're going to see with these three knives is one has one thing going for it, the other has another thing going for it, but the third one, well, it has something going for it, but not maybe the most beneficial in terms of just fighting. As you see, you don't see Salvador, so common knife, really great. Next one is the fighting knife, and I think a lot of people probably pick this one. It's definitely, in my opinion, the coolest looking knife. I do like the design. Obviously, Krauser's knife you get when beating him. His special ability is the power, because with Krauser, it's all about the power. And while it doesn't have the speed, it definitely does have the power. And this is definitely pretty crucial, because you'll see right here is sometimes I can kill these guys maybe in 2 hits, and there's one death in here that I'll show you when I kill this guy. It was like so awesome, but it just shows you how deadly this knife is as everyone constantly grabs me. But it's like if you can hit them in the head, I think it's just about 2 shots, sometimes 3, but it's really ridiculous at how powerful it is. But once again, it is Krauser's knife, so you expect nothing less. And look at that. Did you see that leg burst off? That is ridiculous. Now, one thing I've yet to talk about with these knives is durability. And I'll be honest with you, durability never really was an issue, not unless you're obviously constantly like blocking things. But right here, I get a little moment. Obviously, Dr. Stoffer comes in and I have to block. But even having less durability, because I fall earlier and I'm blind, I still had enough to keep using this knife. And not only that, I was actually able to actually down Dr. Salvador and kill him right as the bell is ringing. So that's pretty wild. But the fighting knife, Krauser's knife, really powerful, but no surprise there. The last knife, the primal knife, this is the one that really I was shocked in. Now, granted, it took me forever to figure out what is on the side of the knife, and I want to say it looks like a lion, but if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. But its perk is that it's indestructible, so it'll never break. But other than that, I'll be honest with you, this one surprised me the most, but not in a good way, because I thought the primal knife would be the best knife. It's a bonus weapon, ironically, so I'm thinking, well, duh. And it's good, don't get me wrong, but in terms of actually fighting with it, using it like this, not just constantly, doing counters and, fatality and R1 stabbing, of the three knives, in my opinion, just in pure fighting and everybody, it is the worst of the knives. And that doesn't mean you can't use it. Obviously, it's a great knife, but when compared to just killing enemies in this manner and fashion, it definitely has the problem. Now, granted, to be fair, if I'm fighting one enemy at a time, it'd be a lot easier, more manageable, having a bunch of them over the place. But even so, I really struggled. I actually had to use not one, but two healing items in this thing from dying because it's just I couldn't do enough kills to get them. And Dr. Salvador came and flirted with me with death. In fact, actually, Dr. Salvador did something that normally he doesn't. Well, he can, but you'll see at the end here. But I really struggled, long story short. And once again, it's not that the knife isn't good. It's great, but just in terms of attacking and killing enemies, the other two are just a lot more efficient at it. And eventually Dr. Salvador comes, but he actually isn't coming to be a menace to me. He actually helps me out, as you'll see here, because I really struggle with this. As I said, not having that speed and not having the power, just it really shows here. And it's great, obviously, if you're just using it to counter and block, which I'm obviously not doing a very good job here. But in just terms of killing them, that's going to be a little bit of a problem, and that's where it really, it's very, and you see right here, Dr. Salver actually says, you know, I'll help you out, bud. I don't know why he want to help me out as many times I've abused him, but he does help me out there, taking out that guy in front of me. But there it is. So, at the end of the day, which is my favorite knife? Well, obviously the primal is going to be at the bottom, but it's between the fighting knife and the combat knife, and it's close. It really is. I'm going to go slightly with the fighting knife, just because obviously we gotta love the power, but the combat knife is right there. I can see people taking that too. It's basically speed versus power. Which one do you want? And either way, you can't go wrong. And I guess with the primal knife, it's basically like, well, it's indestructible, so that's your thing. So you can't have a little bit of, you know, indestructible and then on top of having the speed or power. So I guess I understand it, but I just didn't think it'd be that big of a difference. But at the end, you know, I'm gonna go with the Krauser knife. If only I can get his moves from the mercenary mode, then I'd be great, but it'd be way too overpowered. But that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. Let me know down in the comment section which knife do you think is the best overall, and hopefully I can see a bunch of different answers. But that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.